Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Rightly Speaking. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. Um, this is just a little outlet for me to complain, basically, about how I feel about politics, our government, people in our world. You know what I mean. A little bit about myself. If you couldn't tell from my voice, I'm very Southern. I have voted for Trump 3 times. I would vote for him a fourth and fifth and sixth time if I could. Um, I I'm MAGA all the way. I'm also a lesbian. If that offends you, I'm sorry. But you can be MAGA and be a lesbian or a gay man, but you can't be trans. It doesn't work that way. I do not support trans rights. I think those people are mentally ill. I will continue to think that because science proves that and it shows that. So, just a little bit about where I stand. And I'm hoping I can do this at least 2 or 3 times a week. If not, at least once weekly, just to get a catch up on some stories and my feelings on them, and such as that. Um, and I guess what I wanted to get started with today, because it just came out that last night, was that Trump, tweeted this out that he is calling on the Senate to use the nuclear option and says that choice is clear. We need to do that to get this government open. I do not agree with that. There's not many times that I disagree with our president, but on this I'm going to have to disagree because if you open the door for this nuclear option, there's a whole lot of bad that can come from that. And the main reason you don't want to do that is because, yes, you could get the government open, but you will essentially have lost the battle because you're the one that kind of is, you're going to be seen as the one who gives in no matter what. If you do this, even if it's going for the nuclear option, you're going to be seen as the one who gave in. And even if you do go for the nuclear option, that is going to open a whole big can of worms because basically what you're going to be allowing in the future is if the Republicans become the minority in the Senate again, which I I don't see that happening anytime soon, but it could. And if that does happen, the Republicans will have no way to keep the Democrats from passing their insane bills that they are able to come up with. There would be no way for the Republicans to stop it. So if you open this door now, and it's not going to help you in any way. It will help the people that I guess are living on benefits and stuff, but what does it mean for us long term and for the betterment of the country if we allow that to happen? I know Trump's feeling bad because people aren't getting paid, people aren't getting their food stamps, but this isn't the way to fix it. The way to fix this is you go get 5 more Democrats and show them, hey, these people are the ones that are going to be trying to vote you in on your next election, and you're going to let them not receive food stamps, which that's a whole nother thing, but there's too many people on food stamps. But there's got to be 5 Democrats out there that if you push them hard enough, they'll cave. It's 5 people. You have to find 5 relatively decent people. Now, I know it's the Democratic Party, so it might be harder than I'm thinking that it is. But in order for this thing to play out the way it needs to for the betterment of our country, the Democrats need to lose. Period. Um, everybody's worried that 40 million people aren't going to be getting food stamps. But my question to you all and to everyone is, why are there so many people on government benefits that are receiving SNAP. 40 million people. And I venture to say that probably at least half of those are not here legally or are not American citizens. I don't think that you should receive any type of benefit if you're not a citizen of the United States. We should not be paying for anything for you. Period. If I go to live in France, or I won't even say England, but England, or if I go to anywhere in Europe to live, do you think that they're paying me for that? Do you think that I'm going to show up at their doorstep and they're going to start handing out all this free stuff just because I'm there? No. No. We have become a society of, I think for a long time, we have been too complacent in this country, and especially from my side, from the Republican side, which I don't even really consider myself a Republican because I'm MAGA, and to me, that's a whole different. It's just a whole different party to me. I mean, I understand why they're chugging along with the Republican Party because in this country it's a two-party system and you can't get away from that, and I understand that. But I do not refer to myself as a Republican because I don't feel that I am. And for the most part, most of the Republican politicians have gone along with it. There's a few rhinos out there. We call them rhinos, but technically they are Republican. They want nothing to do with MAGA. They see a difference in it because there is a difference in it. But back to what I was originally saying, was we have got to get these people off of government assistance. I've seen this whole week when this has been, because this has been being talked about for a while, that all these people are on there, and I'm not trying to be ugly, but I have not seen one MAGA person on the internet complaining that they aren't going to get their food stamps. I've seen a lot of liberals complaining, a lot of overweight liberals, and I'll just say that. I mean, I am not any skinny mini to, by any means, but I do pay for my own groceries. I do not receive any government assistance. I'm a single mother. I raise 2 kids by myself. Their dad does pitch in, but I don't get child support or anything, and I am able to support my children, and we live a pretty good life. Now, some of you will say, well, that's because you're white and privileged. No, that's because I got out there. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I got out there and I busted my ass. I've been busting my ass for 34 years. So, what I want you all to understand is we have it's generational welfare, where these people have been taught their whole lives for generations. Then the way to, you just live off the government, and that's just all it is. That's all there is to it. You keep having babies so you get more assistance, even though you really can't afford these babies, but you're going to get more assistance. They're not going to have a good life, but you get more assistance. They're going to end up in prison because you don't have a 2-parent household. They're going to be on government assistance or either in prison. And I don't understand why they are unable to see, or they just willingly refuse to see this cycle. It's a continuous cycle that's been cycling like this since 1965. And I don't think the way to solve this is going with the nuclear option. Trump, I love you. You're my man. But that's not the way to go about this, in my opinion. I mean, I know I don't oversee anything and I'm in charge of absolutely nothing, but I don't see it as a positive in any way for the Republicans. The Republicans have this to lose. It's the Republicans to lose. It's like a ball game. They've got it as long as they don't screw anything up. And I feel that this would be screwing up the whole thing. I mean, we've gone a month. And, I mean, I know Trump worked his ass off to get them paid last time so that they didn't go without. But, you know, we need to reevaluate the whole SNAP system, the whole welfare system. It needs to be reformed. There's millions and millions of people on it that do not belong on it. Don't know why they're there. I mean, I don't like paying. I work my ass off, as I know most of you probably do. And it just burns my biscuits that I'm having to pay for not only, lazy Americans. And I know there are some people that really do need it. I understand that. I'm just talking in general terms here, because there are stereotypes exist for a reason, because they exist. They're true in a lot of cases. So Rand Paul the other day, he was he couldn't understand. He tweeted he couldn't understand how our country SNAP system, welfare system, doubled in the last 5 years. Really? You don't understand that? Are you serious? Dude, we had 20 million illegals enter this country, and not to mention COVID, because a lot of people just didn't go back to work, period. I don't understand why he's confused as to why there's so many people on SNAP and why it doubled in the last 5 years. I mean, have you been living in this country the last 5 years? Have you been working in government the last 5 years? The answer to those questions is yes, he has. And it's not that hard to grasp. But that's my diatribe on that, because I can't believe that a politician that's in Washington, that sees every day what's going on with our government and was there during the whole Biden administration, what is so difficult for you to grasp about why the welfare system has doubled in the last 5 years? It's not hard math. I just had to do a little rant on that because I saw that the other day and I was like, what? Why on earth are you asking such ridiculous questions? But back to my original point. I hope that Thune, and I was wary of Thune to begin with, 100% when he was elected majority leader. I knew I don't think he's 100% MAGA, let's put it that way. But he has surprised me, and he's pretty much towed the line, for Trump this last year. But I hope that he breaks ranks here and says, just says, hey, let's hold off a little bit longer. That is our worst case scenario, in my opinion, and I hope that the Senate, the people in this Thune, realizes that, which I think he does. But I hope that he stands his ground on this and says that, Perez, that's not really how we need to end this, because it's not. It's just not. You're not getting blamed for the shutdown. You're just not. And I mean, even CNN is pushing back at Democrats and saying, this is your fault. I mean, if you've got CNN convinced, you're good right now. And I understand that President Trump doesn't want people to go without. I get that. I get it. I get it. I get it. But I'm hoping that we don't put, and I'm not, I know I sound generally just, like a bad human being, but I think this is where the reform needs to start. We don't need to give up our leverage just so that SNAP can be funded. And that's what the Democrats said, but the leverage I'm speaking of is the filibuster. If we give that up, if we are ever in the minority, we will have zero leverage ever again in this country. And I mean ever. If you do this, you've got to realize what you're giving up. And I hope that, cooler heads prevail and say, look, President, I know you're not wanting people to go without, but this issue's bigger than that. And we need to address it as a larger issue and not just this one item of it. Because Democrats, all they want to complain, that they don't want the Obamacare credits to expire. I've got 2 points on that. First is they are the ones that set them to expire in the first place. And the reason they did that was so that when they expire, they thought they could come in, pass another bill full of additional taxes and additional charges and additional, taxes and stuff that they could pass in the bill. Because let me tell you, when Obamacare was passed, January 1st, 2015, this is what happened. Medicare tax went from 1.45% to 2.35%. That's additional income tax. Medicare tax, which comes off of your pay. Top income tax bracket went from 35% to 39.6%. Top income payroll tax went from 37.4% to 52.2%. Capital gains went from 15% to 28%. Do you see where I'm going here? And it didn't end there. There was dividend tax, estate tax, real estate tax. So, the reason they set this up to expire, these credits to expire, was so that they could pass additional things in an additional bill that would have to be brought forth in order for the credits to remain. And that's what it's about. And the thing is, they keep, it is absolutely, they have on the table, their end all be all is they want to have $1.3 trillion, in additional spending. And what they're basically demanding is that everything that was in the big, beautiful bill that was passed, they want to reverse everything that was passed in that bill. And that is what they're trying to do. Trump's not letting them do that. He shouldn't let them do that. We should maintain our course here and not give in. Just find 5 Democrats. I'm sure they will take money to do it, to vote. I'm sure they will. So, don't just, I hope and pray, President Trump, if you see this, and I know you won't, but I'm begging for y'all not to use the nuclear option. It's just not the right thing to do. It's just not. And I know MTG has come out and said that. Girl, that's not the right thing. I love you, but I disagree with her on some stuff too. This is not the way. It's just not. You're giving up too much in the future to try to solve this problem right now. And really, it's only about the SNAP benefits getting funded at this right now at this point. Nobody's even mentioning, the health insurance for illegals. And if you think they're not getting it, they absolutely are. I can tell you how. When the illegals use our emergency rooms as doctors' offices, you all know that. They're all overrun. They're all underemployed for the people that they have to treat. And they can't turn them away. That's not allowed. You can't have a sick person in front of you and say, I'm not going to help you. That just doesn't work. So they treat them. And then what ends up happening is that hospital, that doctor, that anesthesiologist, that whoever has to see them will put a bill in and a request for reimbursement from Medicare. It goes to the state level first. Then what the state doesn't pay goes to the federal government Medicare program for reimbursement. And they are reimbursed for it. So if you tell me that illegals are not getting, and yes, they're illegal aliens, I don't care what anybody says. That's what they are. That's the legal term for them. But they are 1,000% getting health care in this country for free. 1,000%. If anybody tries to say different, they're lying. They're either ignorant and don't want to study it, or they're flat out lying. Either way, they're wrong. So we've gone this far, is what I'm saying. There's no reason to give in now. Not like this. Not because you're just giving up too much. You're not going to win this. You can still win this. You can absolutely still win this. The Democrats are dead in the water on this. They are eventually going to have to break. They are. And there's no reason to go with this nuclear option when it means that you have to give up so much in the future. Because you don't know what the future's going to hold. You need to hold on to this as a backup plan, as a safety net. Please do not use nuclear option on this. Those are my thoughts on that. So, let's talk about these two ladies. If you don't know, these are the two ladies that are running for governor of the state of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger and Miss Winsome Earl Sears. Can you tell which one is which? I'm just playing. But yesterday, well, a couple of days ago, I guess, it was posted that the NCAA was endorsing the Democratic candidate, Abigail Spanberger, and not Miss Winsome Earl Sears, who is, of course, the black lady. The NAACP. I'm sure most of you know what it is. If I've got younger people out here listening to me that don't, it's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. That's what the organization was founded as. They want to help better the African American population. And yes, this was formed way back in the day when they even referred to themselves as colored people. And I thought that meant black people, but I don't know. Now I'm beginning to wonder. So they came out. There was a report that came out a few days ago that they were endorsing Abigail Spanberger. Okay. With their record, we didn't really find that too surprising. But they've wanted to double down on that now and come out and say, hey, we are an organization. We are tax exempt. We don't endorse anyone. And it says on there, I went and looked on their website, it does state that the NAACP does not endorse candidates, Democratic or Republican. Their job in an election is to figure out how to get more people to the polls. That's what they say their mission is. So, my question here is, we've got these pictures. This is Miss Spanberger back in 2000. This is October of 2024. That's when it is. She is obviously speaking at an NAACP event. She's up there on stage, taking pictures with her homies and hanging out and having a good old time, right? So it got me to thinking. I mean, it obviously looks like they like her and they support her in those pictures. Just does. So I got to wondering. I'm like, well, did they do their due diligence and also ask Miss Winsome Earl Sears to come to a meeting and be the keynote speaker? I could not find anywhere where she had been asked by the NAACP to be a guest speaker. I did find where she attended an NAACP event on September 25th of 2022, but she was strictly there. She just showed up at the event. It would be like me going to an event. I'm a nobody. I'm just sitting in the audience. And that's what that amounted to for her. She's never been asked. She's lieutenant governor of the state of Virginia. You would think that the people that want to advance colored people in this country would have said, hey, this is a smart, intelligent, black woman that is succeeding in government in our country. You would think that they would want younger generations to see that and say, hey, she's doing that. She's the same color as I am. Maybe I could do that one day. And not be on SNAP benefits for the rest of my life, like my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother. You would think that would be something they would want to celebrate. As it turns out, that's not true. It's not true. They do not want to celebrate that at all. So what are they really doing over there? And it's not about being Republican or Democrat. It shouldn't be. It should just be, hey, this is a successful black woman in our country. Look at all she has done. She's an immigrant. She was not born here. She came here legally and gained citizenship and went through all the different steps that it takes to become a productive citizen in our country. She did all that. She served in the military. She did all that. This is a fine black woman who is an exceptional lady. But we refuse to acknowledge that because we're the NAACP. And what we're about is not really the advancement of colored people. We're about Democratic colored people. If these colored people aren't Democrats, we don't want them advancing. We want to keep them slaves to the Democratic Party. They are complicit in that. Because if they weren't, and if that wasn't really their mission, they would have had Winsome Earl Sears as a keynote speaker all across this country in different chapters. And that's just the truth. And another thing is, they say they're not endorsing the Democratic candidate, but on the same day they came out and said that, they put out this, that they're backing the redistricting that's being pushed by the Democrats for the 2026 midterms. So here they are kind of endorsing an idea put forth by Democrats. It's only going to help Democrats. So they think. I'm beginning to wonder, I think tides are turning, but historically, if it helps Democrats, that's what they're for. Has nothing to do with them being black. Nothing whatsoever. So the same day they came out with this, that they are, because Virginia's wanting to redistrict to kind of fight against all the redistricting that's going on in like North Carolina, Indiana, Texas, because they think that they need to somehow counter that gerrymandering that they did 5 years ago, or it's been going on for like 5 to 8 years. They did the same thing, but now because the other party's doing it, they don't like it. And when the other party was doing it, this is what Miss Spamberger thought about it. Gerrymandering is detrimental to our democracy, and it weakens individual voices that form our electorates. That was in 2019. So the same woman that's pushing for it now in Virginia was supposedly dead against it. So I don't know. It's the NAACP, I promise you, will feel much better if Spamberger wins this election. If they say they're not, they're absolutely lying. So another thing I wanted to bring up today was FBI Director Kash Patel. Apparently they thwarted another terrorist attack that was planned for Halloween in Michigan this morning. There's not a whole lot of details as of this recording, but I just wanted to say good job, FBI. I'm glad that they're actually going out and seeking these people now and not waiting for something to happen before they try to figure out who did it. Let's go out and get ahead of it so it doesn't happen. I applaud that. I'm grateful. But it seems all these terrorist attacks that have been thwarted are in all these Democratic-run cities that claim they don't need help from the federal government in policing their cities, which I find absolutely hysterical. If that you can look your citizens in the face and say something like that as a Democratic mayor or a Democratic governor. Are you serious? You have people being stabbed just going down the street, people being shot just walking down the street. And I'm not talking about the people, and I'm not even talking about Antifa. I'm talking about the average citizen living in these cities where Trump wants to go in and help lower the crime rate. And how you can be against that, I have no idea. Other than you're just completely insane or have TDS so bad that you can't even function as a human being anymore. And all these Democrats getting up there saying, we don't need it. We don't need it. And all the protesters, we don't want this. We don't want this. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the big majority of these protesters are white people? Older white people who live in their little safe suburbs that, of course, the crime rate there is low. You've got all these government officials that live in all these nice neighborhoods, gated communities. I'm sure the crime rate there is very low and that you don't need it there. But what you're not thinking about, because you don't care, is the people that really need it. The people in the inner cities that are it's crime ridden to the state where they can't even walk out of the house without being afraid that they might get mugged or shot or stabbed or something. Be driving down the road and get your car stolen at gunpoint. And most of these communities are full of brown people. Full of them. So why aren't the Democrats, who claim to care so much about minorities, trying to keep Trump from lowering the crime rates in these inner cities? Why? And why are white people the ones protesting it? I saw a video the other day of a lady in Detroit. This video was caught by her Ring camera. She was an older lady, probably in like her 60s, 70s. She was just sitting out on her front porch. She wasn't doing anything but sitting there rocking in the rocking chair on the front porch. Like everybody hopes that they'll be able to do someday. When all of a sudden, people just start firing guns. Guns just start firing. Bullets are, headed toward her. She has to get down on her knees, this 70-year-old lady, and crawl back to her house to keep from getting shot on her own porch. Why aren't Democrats trying to help that? Why are they dead set against anybody, trying to lower the crime rate for these people, these citizens that voted them in? These people voted for you. You have your job, your position, because these people believed that you were going to take care of them. And you're not. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Old Pritzker and the governor there in Chicago. I really wish I could tell them. I hope they won't see this, but if they do, I'm looking at both of you right now, and I hope you go to hell. You can both go straight to hell. You are not helping the citizens of your state, your city, that need help from you, that you promised to help, and you're gaslighting them into thinking there's nothing wrong when they know damn well there is. Anyway, I hope you have fun next election. Hope that works out for you all. And going back to the EBT thing, this video, I just want to show you all this because it's maybe the most ridiculous thing.
My people, I wish we stopped crying about this motherfucking EBT card. At the end of the day, they trying to see if we gonna stick together. And we are gonna stick together. Fucking November 3rd at 6:30, we're going to Walmart. We're going to fucking Walmart. And at 7:30, we're gonna walk out of Walmart with our fucking buggies. Okay? The thing is, they can catch everybody. You feel me? All you gotta do is run, Forrest, run. Okay? We have to stick to fucking together. It don't even matter. As long as we gonna have everything we need for Thanksgiving, that's all that fucking matters, bitch. Run, Forrest, run. Remember, put it in your calendar. November 3rd.
Guys, I have several things to say about this. This little hood rat, ghetto trash, with her little sticking together speech. I am glad, for one thing, because I think this whole thing is ridiculous. You've had looks like she had some jewelry, nice jewelry, those little nose rings, thinks she looks cute. All that costs money. You maybe could have spent money on that, used that money for your Thanksgiving meals, all I'm saying. But you don't look like you're in dire straits, let me put it that way. Your hair looked done. And I'm so glad that you got on social media and said where you're going to be at what time and what you're going to be doing there. That should make it very easy for you to be caught. My suggestion is to all the patriots out there, we need to be there too, at the door. Most of us live in open carry states. Just saying. Maybe we guard those doors. Maybe they don't get out of those doors at 7:30. Just saying. So if you're not doing anything Monday between 6:30 and 7, maybe hit up your local Walmart. All right, guys, that's all I have to say for today. I hope you enjoy this format. You can like and subscribe. Also, hit the little notification bell. YouTube loves the notification bell, even though they hardly ever actually notify anyone of a new video, but for some reason the algorithm loves it. So if you could do that, that would help me out. You can also, this is going to be a podcast, so you can listen to it wherever you're listening to podcasts too. So till next time, I'm Shannon, and I will see you next time.
This has been a presentation of Way More Entertainment.